phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
The NFL Combine just took place this past weekend for the 2023 NFL Draft, and it was very fun to watch. This is an event that a lot of NFL fans really like to watch, as you get to see just how athletic or how big time some of these NFL prospects are in one building, in one place, on TV, or maybe even live, just to see just how truly special of a talent they are. As a lot of those players, they're going to be the future of the NFL, and you're going to be knowing their names for years to come. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my biggest NFL draft stock risers from the NFL Combine this past weekend. Of course, I'm not going to be able to talk about all of the guys I think had their draft stocks improved, or even the ones that really showed out this past weekend, because that would be very hard to do in one video. So I will be dropping down just 5 notable players that I believe had some very big weekends and impressed many people, and potentially even improved their draft stock along the way. Before I move on, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. The first player that I'm going to be talking about in today's video is outside linebacker / edge out of Georgia, Nolan Smith. In his career as a Bulldog at Georgia, he racked up 110 total career tackles, 20 tackles for loss, 12.5 sacks, 1 interception, and 3 forced fumbles. His best season came in 2021, in which he had 53 total tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 1 interception, and 3 forced fumbles. He was thought to be a first-round pick going into the 2022 college football season. However, he did deal with some injuries, and going into the Combine weekend, he was seen more as an early second-round pick. Nolan Smith at the Combine absolutely increased his draft stock, as he showed everyone that he is an absolute athletic freak. For the 40-yard dash, he bolstered a 4.39 40-yard dash, a 1.52 second 10-yard split. His vertical jump was 41.5 inches, and his broad jump was 10 feet and 8 inches. And of course, he performed very well for the positional drills at the Combine too. Nolan Smith overall is a prospect according to his draft profile, with a prospect grade of 6.24, which means they think he will eventually be an average level starter. I think he has some very good high upside. He is a little bit of a smaller edge prospect, standing in at 6'2", 238 pounds, but I do believe with some of the production and potential that he showed at Georgia, he can be a good draft pick. Currently right now, pre-pro day at Georgia, he shapes up to be a very early second round to late first round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. On to the next player. Out of Florida, it is quarterback Anthony Richardson, one of the higher rated quarterbacks in this year's NFL Draft. Richardson would play at Florida for a total of 3 seasons, where he was a starter for a full year in his final year there during the 2022 college football season. In his career, he completed 55% of his passes, threw for 3,105 yards, 24 touchdowns through the air compared to 15 interceptions, while accounting for a total of 1,116 yards on the ground, averaging 7 yards per carry, and a total of 12 rushing touchdowns. Going into the NFL Combine, Richardson was seen as a first-round pick, but there was ultimately a lot of questions about AR-15, and of course, the productivity that he had as a quarterback at Florida. And of course, it's not going to be all answered during the NFL Combine, or even his pro day as a quarterback, as we're going to have to eventually find that out during the span of his NFL career. But at the Combine, he really did showcase and had a very good day as a quarterback. He also was listed in at an elite size of 6'4", 244 pounds, and he was by far the most athletic quarterback there, and maybe even one of the more athletic players during the entire Combine. He ran a 4.43 40-yard dash, had a 40.5-inch vertical jump, and even had a 10-foot 9-inch broad jump. Also, during all the quarterback drills, he also had a good showcase, of course, because he has a very good arm, and even though people complain about his accuracy, not many quarterbacks tend to struggle during the NFL Combine, but AR-15 seemed very comfortable during everything that he was doing during the Combine, and ultimately had a very good day. He still is going to be a first-round pick, but it seems like he solidified himself even more as a top 10 pick in this year's NFL draft, and maybe he'll even be the third quarterback taken, or maybe even shock some people and be taken over maybe a Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. With this next prospect, he's a defensive lineman from Northwestern. It is none other than Adi Tomiwa Adibare. In his college football career, he racked up a total of 97 career tackles, 24.5 tackles for loss, 12.5 sacks, 1 interception, and 4 forced fumbles. And during the final 2 years of his college football campaign in 2021 and 2022, he had high levels of productivity, being a great member of that Northwestern defense. When you look at draft projections for him going into the combine, he seemed to be teetering around anywhere from the 2nd to 3rd round, as there's many people that say he is a tweener, as he is kind of a small defensive end, standing at 6'2", and he's not quite the heaviest interior defensive lineman, standing in at 282. Now, granted all of that, I am a guy who's a very big fan of him as an NFL draft prospect, and he showed out this past combine weekend as he absolutely destroyed everything he did. The position drills, aced it. The combine drills, he absolutely crushed it. He ran a 4.49 40-yard dash as someone who's 282 in weight. That is faster than running backs and some receivers this class. He had a 37.5-inch vertical jump, a 10-foot 5-inch broad jump, and even had a 27 rep of the bench press. I feel like he's going to end up being an earlier 2nd round pick in this year's draft, and he really impresses even more with his pro day at Northwestern. He already had a very strong Senior Bowl week for the Reese Senior Bowl, and even now with a great showcase during the NFL Combine, he's going to have a chance to be a late 1st rounder, but more than likely, in my opinion, will be an early 2nd round pick. Taking a look at the secondary side of the NFL Combine, the next player I'm going to be taking a look at is Oregon defensive back Christian Gonzalez. For his college football career, Gonzalez played ball at Colorado originally to start off his college football career and ended it in 1 season with the Ducks in 2022. In his career, he racked up 128 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 4 interceptions, 17 pass deflections, and ultimately was a very good defensive back. In 2022, with the Ducks, his 1 lone season there, he was one of the best defensive backs in all of college football. Had 50 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 4 interceptions, and even 7 pass deflections. Going into the combine weekend, he was seen as a 1st round player and someone that was a very intriguing DB prospect. He impressed many people being one of the better defensive back prospects during the combine week with everything he did in the position drills and everything he showed during the actual combine drills themselves that really test out your athleticism. He seems destined to be a 1st round pick, especially after everything he showed. Talking about some of his combine results, he ran a 4.38 40-yard dash, had a 41.5 vertical jump, and jumped 11 feet 1 inches for his broad jump, and had a 14 bench press reps. For the final player in today's video, I'm going to be talking about offensive lineman from Oklahoma, Anton Harrison. In his career at Oklahoma, Anton Harrison would start in 24 of the 34 games he appeared in, and in his final season as a Sooner in 2022, he was an All Big 12 first team member. Anton Harrison at the Combine showed that he was one of the more athletic offensive linemen in this entire draft class, at least for the players that were invited to the NFL Combine. He ran a 4.98 40-yard dash and even had a 28.5 vertical jump, and he's overall a player that had some good production at Oklahoma, has a lot of potential, and the NFL draft grade from Next Gen Stats is predicting that he will be an average starter in the NFL. He stands in at 6'4", 315 pounds, and although it's not quite the heaviest offensive tackle out there, and he does have some good height at 6'4", he's ultimately a prospect that going into the Combine weekend was seen as more of a 2nd round pick, but after this past week, as a guy who showed out his athleticism compared to other offensive linemen in this same draft class in the same building. He does seem to shape up to be an early second-round pick, and if he really has a strong pro day and shows what he can do on the bench press and just other drills in general in front of even more NFL scouts, maybe he may be a late first-round pick, maybe even a mid-round pick as well, if he really impresses people even more. Well, guys, if you made this far in today's video, drop something down in the comment section below. What players do you think I missed? And what players do you want your team to draft in this year's 2023 NFL Draft? And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.